Hey, everyone. This is Let Me See Your Transcript, your very favorite history teacher. And tonight on this Ask a series and also Ladies' Night, I have the pleasure of having a lawyer and also a new YouTube content creator by the name of Empowered Esquire TV.
Hello, everyone. I hope everyone's having a good night. Thank you to Let Me See Your Transcript for inviting me.
Thank you so much for being with us tonight. I want to say thank you to Tripsy's Treehouse, Investigative Media. All right. And to all of my other subscribers who are probably coming in, please grab your favorite drink, your favorite snack, and enjoy the show. Please like, share, and subscribe. Okay, go grab a friend and tell them, hey, you need to be over here. Okay. Hey, Vita V, thank you so much for coming in the room. She got her drink ready. Shout out to KKC for sharing my live or sharing this live earlier today, and other content creators as well. So shout out to She Nurses TV who's listening while she is working the night shift. Thank you so much for all the work that you do. Hey, Atmos Love Zone, thank you so much for being here. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. So I wanted to ask you, Empire Esquire TV, when did you decide in your life, like, hey, I want to be a lawyer?
So that is the number one question that I get, and people are always really shocked and amused by the answer. There is no definitive time that I decided. I just always knew. I remember being in kindergarten and they, did the whole, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I already knew that I wanted to be a lawyer at 5 years old. And so I went through my whole life just thinking, I don't know, maybe it's because I watched a lot of Law and Order with my mom. I really couldn't figure it out. And then a few years ago, my mom finally admitted that she used the amateur style of hypnotherapy. So what would happen is that every night when I went to bed, my mom would whisper in my ear, you're going to be a lawyer, you're going to be a prosecutor and then a judge, you're going to be a lawyer. And so it kind of sank into, I'm not saying that's why, I'm just saying that maybe that's where I got the idea from. But I just always known.
Oh, your mother, like, you know what? For people who have been, in the church, they would say your mother was manifesting and speaking your life into existence by doing that. Okay.
Right, right.
So, um, how did so when you were going through school, did you also take certain classes in middle, high school, and college to get you ready to go to law school?
Yes, I did. So being that I always knew that that's what I wanted to do, everything that I did in my schooling was kind of geared towards that. I still had fun, but I always had that in mind. In middle school, I did debate and public speaking. And then in high school, I was in a pre-law magnet program where we took special law classes and had special public administration and government externships, all geared towards people who plan on going to law school. And then in undergrad, I did, more speech and debate, more legal studies. Everything that I did was geared towards eventually going to law school.
What did you major in college?
My major was English and I minored in political science.
Okay, I actually majored in political science, and my second major was history. I thought about law school or grad school, and somehow I ended up being a teacher. But much respect to the lawyers out there. And I actually went to a high school for law enforcement and criminal justice. So I had to take, like you said, speech and debate, criminal justice classes, law enforcement classes. I had to do that. So I have quite a few friends who actually, I graduated with who ended up being lawyers. So, but that is
Wow, wow.
really great. Yeah. So if you ever think about, going into the teaching field, they definitely need some really good instructors at schools that have like magnet programs like that, because we also had to do like mock trials. We had to go observe and, the court cases, downtown. Yeah. A lot of things
You know,
like
it's
that.
It's funny that you say that because, first of all, kudos to you for being a teacher. We absolutely need more dedicated, teachers.
Oh, thank
And I
you.
was saying it's funny that you say that because I love to teach. It's one of my favorite things to do. And I actually have a company called Dedicated Educators where I teach mock trial and public speaking.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. It's the most rewarding job. I'm sure you can relate.
Yes. And you know what? I always feel that way when you do your videos, which I'm actually about to put in the chat. I feel like you really take the time to explain everything when you do your videos, and I really do appreciate that, especially for those of us, who may not quite understand what is going on with these legal cases. But it's very, very reassuring. So I'm putting in the chat for everyone. Please like, share, subscribe to Empowered Esquire TV. She definitely did a great job yesterday explaining the Cardi B and Tasha K case and a number of other cases as well. So the next question I wanted to ask you, hold on, where is my list? Teacher, I gotta have a list to keep up with everything. Okay. What exactly is your field? Well, let me back it up. When you graduated, where did you get your law degree?
So I went to a private law school in Tampa Bay. It's called Stetson Law. The actual name is Stetson University, and my sector would be the College of Law, but that is the law school that I went to.
Okay. And when you graduated, when did you take the bar exam? Or I guess will you the Florida bar exam?
Right. So I did not take the Florida bar. This is another
Oh,
another one of those funny stories.
oh,
So
okay.
in my last year of law school, I decided very suddenly that I would leave Florida, that I would not take the Florida bar, that I was going to move to New York and take the New York bar.
Oh,
And right, and everyone said, "What?" Everyone, my professors, my mentors, my classmates were like, that's a lot. Are you sure?" Especially because at the time that I took the bar, it was still individual state bar exams. Right now they have something called the UBE and it's a bit different. But back then it was still very individual, and New York had one of the hardest bar examinations in the nation.
oh, wow.
So everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, you really think you should go to Florida law school and then take the New York bar? And what are we doing? Is it a good idea?" But I had a grandmother in New York that was passing away, and
Mhm.
my grandfather passed away when I was in undergrad. And because I was so busy with school, I wasn't there for him when he was sick, and it's one of my biggest regrets.
Mhm.
So at the last minute in my last year of law school, I said, "Yeah, I'm going to go to New York. I'm going to go there and be with her and, spend as much time with her as I can. I don't want to have that regret again." So didn't take the Florida bar exam. I ended up taking the New York bar exam, which was extremely hard, but I passed it on the first try. Thank God, because I
Oh,
couldn't, I couldn't imagine
congratulations.
having to take that exam again.
How
Um,
long was it?
Oh my goodness. It's a 2-day exam.
2 days?
Yes, it's a 2-day exam. The first day is what they call the MBE. It's a bunch of multiple choice questions, and it's kind of national. It's anything from any type of law in the country. But then the
Mhm.
second day, it's mostly essay form, mostly short answer form, and it's all state specific. So it's a 2-day exam.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
goodness. That almost sounds like some of my friends who were in grad school when they had to do take their comp exams and it'll be like 2 days.
Listen, it was very stressful. And then because I wasn't a New York resident at the time, they
Hmm.
give you kind of, so the state of New York has, I think, 5 or 6 different examination centers where you can take the bar. And
Hmm.
when you're not a New York resident, you get, bottom rung, last pick, because you're not a New York resident. So you
Right.
don't get to take the bar in Manhattan or something like that. If you're, they sent me to Albany to take the bar. And
Wait, the
yes,
capital?
yes. And I was told that I was lucky because I could have been sent to Saratoga. So
Um,
I was told, "Oh, you got lucky, you got Albany
the
instead
only
of
thing I know
Saratoga."
about Saratoga is the Battle of Saratoga that I teach when I teach American Revolution. That's all
Right.
I know.
So, me, non-New Yorker, had to go to Albany. And again, when we talk about it, I try not to be too preachy, honestly, because I don't want people to miss the message.
Yeah.
But when you talk about destiny and fate and God having a plan for you,
Mhm.
I got sent to Albany. And as I said, it sucked because it was like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? And around the time that I found out I got sent to Albany, I reconnected with one of my old friends from my pre-law magnet program. And it turns out that
Wow.
she had went to law school in Albany.
Great.
It was just like perfect timing. She was like, "Well, I'm here. I'm here." And one of my friends, her apartment is empty. She went back home for the summer and come stay at her apartment, and we'll make sure you have food. And it was everything
Oh,
worked
that
out.
was great. Yes,
Yeah.
that was destiny. That was right on time. Right on.
Everything worked out. So yeah, 2-day exam in the middle of nowhere, aka Albany. And you know what? Maybe not. I won't say maybe. I'll say definitely. Definitely, it was all, as I said, destined, because it turns out that when you take your exam in the less popular examination centers, it's less people, it's less of a crowd, it's more calm.
Mm.
All of my colleagues who took the bar in Manhattan at the Javits Center said that it was like a zoo, and they were so stressed out.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, yeah. So everything works out.
All right, I'm glad that worked out. I want to just say, I see some new people who have just came in. Hey, the Josephine Sector. Hey, Money to Burn. Hey, Miss T Pre from the Black Lounge Entertainment. Thank you for showing up. Please like, share, subscribe. Thank you, Atmos Love Zone, for sharing tonight's live. I really, really appreciate that. Okay, come on in the room. Glad to see all the ladies and gentlemen who have shown up. We definitely love the ladies and we definitely love our gentlemen allies. Thank you to those who may be just listening to us while here I'm interviewing Miss Empowered Esquire TV. So, my next question: what field of specialty do you practice? Are you civil law? Are you criminal law? Are you a mixture of different? Do you do business, domestic, family? Like, what is your specialty?
So I began my career in the criminal law field as a prosecutor. Um, Being a prosecutor means that you get experience in every single type of case. I mean, I tried cases that were, boyfriend and girlfriend pushing and shoving each other. And then I tried cases that were, major narcotics and Rikers Island felonious assault. I mean, it was all over the board as a prosecutor. But I never wanted to be a lifetime prosecutor. That just was never my thought process. So I left that field and went into civil litigation. So currently I practice civil litigation similar to my experience in the criminal field. When I first entered civil litigation, I kind of got a bunch of different types of experience: premises liability and insurance defense and workers' compensation. And then I eventually decided, oh, you know what? I don't think any of those things are really me. So my current practice is what is called intellectual property. So it's trademark, copyright, patent law, things like that. And then also contract negotiation, contract drafting. And we've branched out, and by we, I mean my firm, we've branched out into what we call brand management, which is where we're now specializing in representing social media influencers and kind of, assisting them in all the legalities of crafting their brand. So that's currently my
Oh,
practice.
you are in the perfect place to be then.
Right, right.
You gotta see what they may have to do since you're now YouTube content creators. Actually, I was gonna ask you a couple of questions regarding that. And so when you say your firm, is this your own practice, or are you part of a firm or part of a law firm?
It is my own practice. We are called Above the Bar Law Firm. It is myself and my esteemed co-founding partner, Catherine Charles. So we are a Black-owned, woman-owned, Manhattan-based law firm.
Okay. And are you currently taking in new clients or doing consultations?
Yes, we are. Our website is weareabovethebar.com. It's spelled exactly how it sounds.
Can you
We
put that
are.
in the private chat and then I'll put it
I
in
will. I will. I'll put it in the
the
private
regular
chat.
chat?
And so I'll also put my dedicated educators website as well.
Oh, that's great.
So yes, so I didn't even get to round out the story about teaching, but I think we'll get back there later. So yes, so we do have our own firm, and again, that has been a journey. We both, so I met my colleague as a young prosecutor. We were both at the same DA's office, and we saw so much at that office that led us to realize that, prosecution is not really what we want. And around the same time, we both moved into civil litigation, and we found that and this is not to say, I want to be very clear here. I'm not insinuating that every single law firm is this way, right? But when we entered civil litigation, we found that female attorneys are undervalued and that Black attorneys are undervalued. So imagine the situation as a Black woman who is an attorney. We found that our work was scrutinized a lot more than everyone else's. Mm-hmm. We found that we had to fight a lot harder for bonuses that should be commonplace and things like that. And so eventually we came together and we said, this just doesn't make sense. I mean, I'm writing everyone else's motions, but then I'm being scrutinized. Well, why would you have me doing everyone else's work? My billables are higher than everyone else's. So eventually my partner and I came together and we said, it just isn't worth it, especially after we ran the numbers as to how law firms generate their profit. So the story behind law firms and their profit is that depending on, of course, who their clients are. But when I worked in civil litigation, our clients were corporations and companies. And so the law firm sends the corporation or the company a bill. Some do biweekly, some do monthly. Monthly is really the usual. And so every month, my old firm, they would send a bill to our different corporate clients. And what would happen is that a lot of the bills would be sent back because they would be scrutinized and they would say, oh, well, you did this twice or something of that nature. And so eventually, because my bills were not sent back as much as everyone else's, I became like designated to fix everyone's bills that were sent back. Mind you, this is not extra pay. So it's extra work and it's not extra pay. So as I was correcting everyone's bills when they got sent back, I got to see how much the law firm was charging the corporate client per hour versus how much they were paying the attorneys per hour.
Wow.
And that was absolutely life-changing for me. I mean, my partner and I, we had little conversations, oh, we should start a firm. Oh, we should. But it was all kind of, light. But once I saw that these law firms make $3 to $4 million a year off of an attorney like me, and then pay you, right, and then pay you low six figures and say you should be happy because it's six figures.
Interesting. Because sometimes we teachers say the same thing about, when we find out how much the principals get.
Right, versus how much a teacher is paid.
How much teachers get. And a couple years ago, there was an article that came out and it talked about who are the highest paid principals in Texas. And there was literally a principal getting, and mind you, they did have teaching experience and years of instruction, and also, they're in a much richer school district. But to see that someone was getting $110,000 a year, it was like, and I'm getting 50, and I got 20-something years experience. It's like, wait a minute.
Right. And you're making the school function. You're the actual backbone of the school because you're teaching the students.
Right. So how long were you at the other firm before you and your partner started your own?
That's a good question. So we officially incorporated in 2019, I believe. I have to double check that, but I think late 2019 we incorporated, but we didn't actually start operating yet. We've recently started to kind of full-time operate. So what we did was we did all the paperwork to get ourselves established as, a PLLC and get the bank accounts and all of that. And then we continued to work and save money so that, we would be okay in case things didn't happen the way that we thought. So I would say starting in 2020 and as of recently is when we've gone full time with the firm. You know, we both still have other endeavors, as I have dedicated educators, and I work in the civil rights arena with different nonprofit organizations. So we both still have other things that we do while we're getting the firm off of the ground.
Okay, that's great. What made you decide I'm going to start a YouTube channel or I'm going to become a YouTube content creator?
So I am a self-proclaimed YouTube addict. I watch YouTube more than anything, more than TV, more than Netflix, more than anything. And I started to get concerned, I think that's the word I'll use. I started to get concerned with a lot of the conversations that were being had on YouTube surrounding law and law enforcement and things like that. And I would say this was in, I believe, March of 2020 when I started the channel. So, you know, when everyone's home during the pandemic, more people are online. And I feel that I just saw an increase in foolishness because everybody was at home. And I said, you know, yeah, I mean, that's just the
I didn't
truth,
mean to laugh because I've had these discussions with my friends, online friends and offline friends. Like, we've been seeing a lot of foolishness.
Yeah, increase
on you. I mean, because everybody's at home, and they, keep going. I'm sorry.
Absolute increase. No, you're fine. It's just an absolute increase in foolishness and misinformation. And as I've shared on other channels, you know, I initially forayed into YouTube by way of finding a lot of quote unquote people in the quote unquote conscious community. So you already know how much foolishness I saw going on and misinformation I saw going on. Right. So I was talking to a few of my girlfriends about it one day. And when I say girlfriends, I mean friends, by the way. I just add that caveat because I know some people don't know what what I mean by that. So I was talking to a few of my girlfriends one day and, you know, venting to them about it. Like, can you believe that people think this and think that? That's ridiculous. And so they said, well, why don't you correct them? Why don't you start your own? You're always on YouTube anyway. Why don't you start a YouTube channel and tell them how the law actually works and how the courthouse and litigation and the filing process actually works? And one of the people, well, not people, I won't go there. I have to be very careful, especially because it's late at night. You know, you tend to slip up when you get tired. One of the things that I was most inspired by was this idea that you could be sovereign and you can get out of traffic tickets and lawsuits by being sovereign. Yes. And that was one of the main things that, you know, my girlfriend said, well, if you're so frustrated by it, they were like, which I am too, you need to get online and correct them. So I started my YouTube channel. I said, I'll pull pop culture cases. You know, initially I started doing true crime cases at first and then doing real down to the point subject matter videos. So if you look at my early videos, you'll see I have videos literally titled, "Can the police search my home without a warrant?" Right? And explaining to people that you don't always have the right to tell them to get a warrant. There are some instances in which law enforcement can just search your home.
Is it okay? Let me ask that question because I also teach government. Yes. And so I was actually talking to my students about that in regards to their car. And I just want to make sure I was telling them correctly. If the officer sees it in plain sight or has probable cause, can they search your car? And does that apply to your home as well?
So plain sight, as you correctly taught, applies to every encounter with law enforcement. If they see something in plain sight, then they have the right to inquire and the right to confiscate. That's just how it works. And it's kind of seen as, again, it's in their view, it's in their vision. Right. But when it comes to your home, there are other instances such as exigent circumstances. So let's say, for example, they're chasing a suspect and that suspect runs in the direction of what they think is your backyard or your home. Wow. They can say, you know, hey, miss, let me see your transcript. We need to walk through your home because we saw our subject run in this area. And you don't have the right to say no. It's an emergency because they're pursuing this person.
Right.
Right. So when I first started, you know, on YouTube, I started doing true crime videos. And like I said, really to the point subject matter videos, such as the warrantless searches and why you should trademark your business name and how to protect your business idea. And what I found was, quite frankly, that people did not want that. And so no one was learning from it. People did not want videos that were actually to the point in regards to education. And so I said, okay, well, what should I do? And again, brainstorming with a couple of my friends, they said, well, why don't you pull some of these celebrity cases and teach that way? You know, people would click it because they know that it's a pop culture case. And then you could teach them the actual law behind the pop culture case.
Wow.
And I said, oh, that's a good idea. And so that's what I started doing. And then people actually started gravitating towards the channel. And, you know, I'm still very, very small. But I think I'm able to more effectively teach the law now because I have that initial pull in. You know, I have that initial pull.
Right. And I think also, and that's something I've also grappled with too, because I do, you know, because I'm an educator, I like to do how-to videos, how to help people, like understand, say things about special education. But like you said, I don't get a lot of views on those videos. And then like my friends are like, well, why don't you talk about this? Why don't you talk about that? And hey, Matt Charles, thank you so much for coming by and supporting the channel. Okay. Thank you, Teresa Jackson, for coming by. Thank you, Dr. Lady Moore, for coming by as well. Thank you so much for your support. So, but yeah, it's like you want to do certain topics, but it seems like, you know, you kind of have to like figure out the balance, like what is going to bring people to your channel, and also you get to discuss certain topics, you know. I totally understand. I totally understand. But go ahead. Sorry.
No, you didn't interrupt me at all. So that's how I ended up in kind of the niche that I'm in now with pulling pop culture cases and teaching. And I have yet to see, you know, I could be wrong, but I have yet to see anyone else teaching. And so I'm really hoping that more people gravitate to it so that more people can learn, because that's my biggest thing. You know, there are so many attorneys on YouTube and they are all gimmicky. Like, please forgive me for being this honest, but it's after 10 o'clock at night. So it's the honesty hour. They're all gimmicky. You know, they're all gimmicky. They're not actually teaching. Or they're doing what I did before, which is they're doing the direct subject matter and then they're not getting the traffic, you know, so no one's getting the information. So I pull the pop culture cases, but I actually pull up the law. I actually pull up the actual lawsuit or the actual documentation that was filed with the court that is presiding over the matter. And I walk people through what a court filing looks like, what it takes to create that filing, what the legal terms in that filing means. All of these things that could very well be relevant to them in their personal life, because people end up in litigation for a lot of different reasons.
And you know what? Personally, and also I've seen on YouTube that has been a lot of things that has been going on. And I think for the most part, those are things we need to know about. And I'm just so happy to know that you're like, hey, you do things such as branding and copyright and things of that nature. Because I've actually had to like try to, you know, Google things myself, trying to figure it out. And whether people think so or not, we actually need those educational, informative videos. I was going to also say my friend who is here in the chat, Matt Churches, his name is also Marcellus McMillan, and he teaches courses on how to be a very successful YouTuber. So you definitely could look into maybe taking his course, because definitely he can help you with getting more followers and getting more, I guess you say, your videos in more people's feeds so that they can, you know, come to your channel. Because I know he's definitely helped me with that. So, because sometimes that deals with, you know, things that I like to tell other people, your tags, your thumbnails, the time of the day that you
I'm sure that's
your
a big part of it.
you know, things of that nature. So, but yeah, because I'm just, you know, putting that in there.
Thank you for that insight. I will definitely reach out to him, because I know nothing about that, you know, and I'm sure that's probably a big part of it because as I always say on my channel, I'm not a, well, I joke on my channel and say I'm not a big YouTuber and then people laugh because they know who I'm referring to.
Yeah. He's a big YouTuber because I actually look at his
they know
channel.
exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, y'all know who the big YouTuber is, especially like when he likes to walk around Bronx at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Okay, you took the New York bar exam. Is there an ordinance that he's violating when he does that? Because there has to be some type of noise ordinance. He's not. I guess they can't call 911 on it. That's not considered an emergency. But he's just out there kicking trash, yelling, and all that kind of stuff. It's just ridiculous.
I mean, you would think that there is a noise ordinance, but it's the Bronx. And, you know, sorry if there's any Bronxites on here, but even if they have a noise ordinance, no one's enforcing it. It's the Bronx. But I'll say all that to say, you know, I'm living real life. You know, I'm practicing law, I'm teaching. So when I finally get to do something on YouTube, I'm not going to lie, I'm not a specialist in the tags and the thumbnails. And I think I should definitely look into that. Even the way that I title my videos, there might be something that I could do.
Yeah, it's
more effective there.
Yeah, because it's really better to have. Because I've seen some titles and it's extremely long, but it's best to have between 20 and 70 characters. So sometimes like I have a really catchy title. I was like, oh, I think this is gonna catch their attention, but I want YouTube to push my video. So I was like, okay, I gotta cut some things out of here so it's under 70 characters. Yeah. Oh, I just put my friend's email address in the private chat. Hey, Nappy Yankee. How are you doing?
Hey, Nappy Yankee.
Thanks for showing up. How are you doing? Thank you for joining us. So how long have you been practicing? I know you said that you've had your own like law firm for like a couple years, but how long have you been a lawyer, a practicing lawyer?
Since 2015. I took the bar in 2015. And then because I was a prosecutor, you get a little exception. It's a little loophole where you can practice as long as you're hired by a DA's office until your results come in. And then my results came in and I was sworn in June of 2016. So practicing since 2015 and sworn in since 2016.
Oh, okay. All right. So I wanted to ask, in your capacity as a prosecutor, and this was like a civil case, these are civil cases, correct? That you did?
No. Remember, civil cases are not criminal cases.
Okay, so you were actually doing criminal. It was criminal law. I guess.
Yes. Criminal law as a prosecutor.
As a prosecutor, and so you did this in New York, in one of the boroughs.
That's correct.
Okay, and what was the case that I guess you could say you could where I guess I don't know if they still have this or not. Maybe it's me watching too much Law and Order. Is there like a lead chair or a lead prosecutor on cases?
Well,
or is it just one person? It's not like two or three.
Well, I can tell you the way that it works in New York City. So the way that it works in New York City is the district has a DA. So for example, the DA in the Bronx right now, I think it's still Darcel Clark, right? So Darcel Clark is the district attorney for the Bronx. What that means is that she runs the office. I mean, that's really what it means because she is not physically prosecuting any cases as the DA. What she's doing is running the DA's office full of assistant district attorneys, ADAs, and, you know, keeping an eye on high profile cases, carving out major policies for the district, things like that, right? So each district has their DA, and you have one in Bronx, you have one in Brooklyn, you have one in Manhattan, Queens, et cetera, Staten Island, right? And then, as I said, at the office, you have all of the assistant DAs. The assistant DAs are actually doing the work of trying the cases. That is the person who's going to, you know, going to court and try the case. Now, as to how many prosecutors are on the case, it depends on the severity of the case. Usually, if it's a misdemeanor, there will literally be one assistant DA on that case. When you get into felony cases, especially when you get into homicide, that is when you start to see first chair, second chair, and you start to see more senior assistant DAs kind of shadowing and overseeing a younger assistant DA.
Okay. So what was a case that really stood out to you? And you just even now that you're doing civil law, you have your own firm, sometimes you just think back to that case like, wow. I can't believe
So
that.
I don't like to speak about specific cases, but what I will say is I will share things that just generalities, right? Because I don't like to share specific cases.
Yeah, that's something, whatever you're able to actually mention.
Right. So in general, something that I think about very, very often, I started my career as a domestic violence prosecutor. So something I think about very often is the connection that I observed between socioeconomic status and domestic violence. I very often think about the fact that, at least from what I saw, there is a direct connection between the man in the household, whether he's husband or boyfriend or whomever, having financial issues, and then that man becoming violent with the people in the home.
Oh, wow.
Right. And so that's something I think about very often. You know, I wonder, I often think, I wonder if improving the financial situations of some of the, men in these homes would change the way that they interact with their spouses and their family. So I think about that very often. And I think about some of my victims who were in extremely dangerous situations and were irate with the DA's office for trying to incarcerate the person that, was harming them. You see a lot with domestic violence, a lot of battered women syndrome and battered spouse syndrome, where the person really is in love with their abuser. And they would show up at the DA's office upset with us. We'd have to have security escort them out because they don't want you to prosecute the person, even though they almost died.
Wow.
My most severe cases had victims that were extremely uncooperative.
Was it because they were like stay-at-home spouses or partners? Did they make less than the man did, or did they not work at all?
Well, there were times where I had
children there.
Right. There were times where I had severe cases, and the victim would say something to the extent of, well, he pays the rent. And so, I can't have you all incarcerate him because then there's no one to pay the rent. Yes, I saw that. And I also saw women saying things such as, he's a very good father. So, I don't want you all to prosecute him and incarcerate him because he's a very good father. And I had to have the conversation so many times with so many different victims about the fact, and it is a fact, that someone does not qualify as a good parent if they beat their co-parent. Period. Right. The minute that you are violent with your co-parent, you no longer qualify as a good parent. I don't know why people think that because you don't hit your children, you're a good parent.
You said a message right there. Did y'all hear that? When you hit the co-parent, that doesn't make you a good parent. All right. Thank you so much, Queen Stone, for coming and joining us tonight. Thank you, Jacqueline Walker, Teresa Jackson. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Vita V. You're on top of your moderator duties tonight. Oh, she said it's called Fear the I Love Him syndrome. Okay. I wanted to ask something about something that we had briefly mentioned. I think in the chat. I think it was like last summer, maybe August, and I did a video about ZaZa Ali. And if one of the mods can please put that link to that video in the chat, that would be great. It was part of my series, African American Greed. And I did one on ZaZa Ali, and I think you mentioned in the chat, you were like, oh, she's doing this again. And I was like, doing this again? She's like, yeah. You said something about you had an encounter with her. And I wanted to know a little bit more about that.
Right. So this was, oh my goodness, I'd have to go back and look, but I think this was back in 2018. Yeah, I think it was 2018 that I had this encounter. So as I was telling you earlier, my foray into YouTube was largely involved with, observing a lot of people in the conscious community.
Mhm.
And so, of course, one of said people is ZaZa Ali. And I usually quite, enjoyed her commentary and her insight. And when she would talk about, her life and the things she's been through and different measures of how she kind of turned her life from a lot of negatives into a
Right.
positive. Like I always enjoyed that. And so I heard her one day talking about doing a yoga retreat for women.
Mhm.
And at that time, I was actually going through a lot of really, really heavy stuff in my personal life.
Mhm.
And I was in such need of sisterhood and guidance and support. Like I don't even know how I made it through some of the times that I went through.
Mhm.
So when I, heard about this yoga retreat and sisterhood and everything, I thought, oh, that would be great for me. I'm going to go to this retreat and um, maybe get some peace and some solace and, make great connections with amazing women. So I told my mother about the retreat, and my mother said, I want to go as well. I want to go. And I said to her, okay, well, let's slow down. Let me go to this retreat. And if it turns out that it's great, then the next one will go together. So that was,
Oh, okay.
right, the agreement that my mother and I had. And I'm glad we made that agreement because of what ended up happening. So the way that the paperwork, and there is paperwork, by the way, when you sign up to go to, at least back when I did, when you
Mhm.
sign up to go to one of her retreats, she sends you a whole slew of paperwork. And there's a payment plan, and it tells you when your payments are due. It tells you what your trip is supposed to include, not include, et cetera, et cetera. And it includes pictures of the place that you're supposed to go to. So, anywho, I pay my initial deposit and I start my payments. And then the internet starts to explode with the allegation that she's throwing fake retreats.
Mm.
Then I start to see all of these women that went onto the news and said, she took my money and the retreat never happened and I never got a refund. So I start to panic and I start researching and
Mhm.
I find so many different women other than the news channel segment, right? I find so many different women who are saying, yes, this happened to me back in this year or that year, and I'm thinking, uh-oh. So I, of course, become concerned and I wonder, is the retreat that I'm signed up for real?
Right.
So I contact her and I say, very politely, I said, and I flat out told her, I said, I want to believe in you. However, with all of the things that are going on and our trip getting closer, I need details about where we're going to stay because, mind you, I'm making payments and we still don't have an address for where we
What?
are staying.
What do you mean
Right.
you don't have an address?
We don't have an address. We have pictures of what the place supposedly looks like, but we don't have an address.
Did you know the name of the place?
No. Right. So when all of this happened, now I start to get concerned because I'm thinking, I don't have a name. I don't have an address. And now I'm hearing that she does this. So I reach out to her, very respectful. I say to her, actually, can you still hear me right now?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm listening.
Okay.
I'm
So I'm going into my sent box to actually pull up, what is going on? Okay. My phone froze for a moment. Okay. I'm in my sent. Because I want to see if I can actually find, I mean, they're super old, but I don't delete anything, so I don't see why it wouldn't show up. There we go. Um, let's see here. I'm scrolling. I found it, so I'm scrolling now to try to read because to me it was a super respectful um email. Statement of account. Okay, so I emailed very respectful and I said, I'm browsing the details of our trip and I see that we don't have an address. Please, inform me of the address. Is it somewhere and I missed it? And this was in December of 2018. And I received no response. So then I emailed again and I said, hi, just asking once more, is there an address for where we are supposed to be staying? This is December. And I think was it February? I believe that this trip was supposed to happen in February, and this is the end of December that I'm asking for, where are we staying?
Right.
So then I get an email from her, and she says, provide me with your phone number and your email, and I will contact you tomorrow. So because she asked for my phone number, I assume that she's going to call me, right? So I give her my phone number.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of days go by, I still have no phone call. So then I email her again. I say, hey, I still don't have any information as to where we are staying for this retreat. Still no response. Another day goes by. She then apologizes and says that she was multitasking and, time got away from her, and that's fine. But then she says she's not giving anyone the address to the trip until a month prior to the trip date.
What?
So
Okay.
meaning the end of January is when she's going to give us the location. But what struck me as odd as a practicing attorney, because we do a lot of things, but one of the things that we do is sniff out BS. When I initially asked her for the address, she never said there was a time constraint on when she releases it. She said, what? I'll call you, and never did. So when she now responds and imposes this time constraint, I'm thinking, why is there all of a sudden a time constraint on when you're giving me the address when you did not just initially mention that?
Okay, excuse me, Empowered Esquire. Can you back up a little bit? Because some people, they've heard this story, from others before. So if you can just back up. And I just put a link into my African American Grace here, episode 5,
right,
from last year. And so some of you in the chat are saying, yeah, it was on the news. This host is still stealing. And hey, Creole, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it. She said this heifer is wrong for that, stealing folks' money. Just to let you know, Empowered Esquire, she's telling about her experience from, was it last year or the year or 20? You said 2018?
From 2018.
From 2018 with ZaZa Ali, also known as Ginger Daniels, as Nappy Yankee mentioned. So go ahead. All right.
Right. So at that point, when she said all of a sudden that she would not release the address until a month before the trip, I thought, that's odd. So that is when I sent her a pretty lengthy email. So this was, again, the end of December. This was around December 18th. I said to her, I have a lot of respect for you, but it's not logical. And I told her straight up, I said, with the genuine respect that I have for you, I will word this appropriately. It makes sense that you are saying that there are safety reasons that you do not want to share the address, but I have paid over $600 so far to attend. So it's not logical to expect me to continue to pay for a retreat when I do not know where I am going. So if you are still choosing not to disclose to me where I will be going, then I will not be attending and I will not be making any further payments. I then go on to tell her I've already purchased a non-exchangeable, non-refundable ticket to Atlanta on February 8th, because that is the alleged first day of the retreat was February 8th. Mind you, for people who were flying into Atlanta, there was supposed to be some travel arrangement to get you to the place that we were staying. None of that has been discussed because, again, we don't even know where we're going. So I then go on to tell her, being that I've already bought my ticket, I will be in Atlanta. And if necessary, I'll just go ahead and file civil action to get my money back from you. So at that point, she, responds a day later, and she says that, she apologizes for the confusion and that she has canceled my payment plan and that she will refund me the payments that I made. And I'm thinking, oh, that's awesome, right? Now, mind you, there was also a non-refundable deposit. So I understood that I had already forfeited that. But in her response to me, she says, oh, not only will I refund you your payments, I'll refund you your deposit as well. And I said, oh, awesome, wonderful. So she asked me to send along my PayPal. The next day, I sent along my PayPal. A day passes, she responds. So mind you, my last communication from her is December 20th. It's now January 9th, and I still have nothing refunded. not the payments that I made and not the extra deposit, which she offered to refund. So I email her and my email bounces back saying that there's some problem and my delivery is incomplete. It won't send the email. And I'm thinking, that's so weird because I've been emailing her at this address for this entire conversation that we have. So I know it's not wrong. So thank goodness I have another email address for her because I was a part of another thing that she was doing called Sister, where we were giving money every month? We were giving money, I think, bi-weekly or monthly, something like that. And then one woman would be chosen out of the bunch to kind of win the pot that we had donated.
Wait, I'm sorry. You were breaking up. You were in what with her?
I was in another group with her called the Sister Cipher. I don't know if she still does that, but women would donate money and it would all go into one big pot. And then a random woman would be selected to get the pot. So I just
heard about something like that. And a friend of mine, her sister wanted us to join. And I told my friend, I said, do you know these people that your sister's involved with? And she's like, no, these are her friends. And I was just like, I'm just going to pass.
Right. Yeah. So I was a part of that as well. And I only tell that backstory because that is the reason that I had another email address for her.
Oh, okay.
Right. So that's why I tell the backstory, because the initial email address that I used was connected to this retreat. So once that email was all of a sudden not working, I said, I have another email address. So I emailed the other email address. And so from there began all of this back and forth. Now I'm emailing her and not getting any response until January 15th. Now on January 15th, she apologizes for the late reply. She then says, she knows that she was supposed to refund me already, but she's moving my refund date up to January 22nd. She then says she has to move my refund date up to January 22nd. So bear in mind, this is a month now. This is a month after I've pulled out of this trip that I still have not been refunded.
And when were you supposed to go on the trip if it was supposed to happen?
Was I supposed to go, you said?
No, if the trip was supposed to happen, when were you actually supposed to go on it?
February 8th. February 8th is when we were actually supposed to go.
2019 or 2018?
2019.
But you were paying since August of the previous year?
I think we started paying around August of 2018, I believe. I think that's when we gave our deposit.
You pulled out December 2018.
Right.
She still didn't tell you where you were going.
Exactly. And it was December.
Not answering her emails.
Exactly.
Wow.
So January 15th, now she finally emails me back. Again, she tells me that all these things have happened, and so she can't refund me until January 22nd. She blames it on PayPal and says that PayPal, she can't process her invoices through PayPal, and PayPal is putting some hold on her account. So I have to wait to get my refund until PayPal releases the hold on her account. But here's the kicker to the January 15th email. She then says that she is no longer going to, mind you, she didn't owe me the non-refundable deposit, right? She didn't owe it to me, but she retracts it. She says she's no longer refunding me the deposit like she promised. She's only refunding me the payments that I made. I said, okay, fine. She didn't, it was non-refundable. It is what it is, whatever, right? So that was January 15th. So I say, okay. So I start, every so often I check my PayPal. So now it's January 27th. I then say to her, okay, so I see you've changed the refund amount. I was fine with that. I see you even changed the due date. I was fine with that. But I still don't have the refund. It doesn't make any sense to me. Right. So I give her my PayPal address again. So that is January 27th. Nothing. Let me see when is the next email that I have from her. My next email from her, when I emailed her on January 27th, the next email I get is February 3rd.
What?
Yes. February 3rd, she again says she cannot refund me because all of the money in her PayPal account is on hold. She then says she's been traveling and she thought the hold would have been whatever by now, but it's not.
I'm so sorry to be laughing, but
okay.
I feel like we've heard this with Umar too.
So at this point, I'm going to tell you what I do. I give up, truthfully, because
Mhm.
I ain't got time for
Mhm.
this. It was way too much rigmarole, way too much foolishness. I'm working at a firm at that time. So I'm thinking, you know what? Honestly, it's really, I'll be fine. It's honestly, for me at that time, I was like, it's not that much money. And when I convert the time that I would spend trying to fight this woman for the money, my time was worth more than the money that she owed me.
Right.
That's how I felt. So I said, all right, forget it. And I was like, whatever. And so a few more months went by and she was live on YouTube. And I went into her live chat and I said, when are you going to refund me? Are you telling these people that you owe me money? And I'm now blocked. I can't, I'm totally blocked from all her stuff now, by the way. But I was never refunded. And I'm curious to know if the Helen, Georgia retreat ever happened. I heard through the grapevine that it did not. But
Okay.
That's allegedly because
Yeah.
I don't know for sure if it happened or not.
Because Black Anonymous was asking, where's your retreat to Sedona, Arizona?
No, this was the Helen, Georgia retreat. And through the grapevine, it was said that it never happened. But I don't know that to be true for sure. I don't know.
Hey, Ava Collier, Tristan McGregor, Sadat 88, Black Anonymous. Thank you so much for being here. Someone asked, do you guys know what other YouTuber reported a non-refundable scam on a fake trip? Well, she's talking about ZaZa Ali. That's who we're talking about, Tristan. I don't know anyone else. Maybe someone else in the
He might be talking about Mary Jane Byram.
Oh, I've done a video on Mary Jane Byram.
She did some similar things as well as
oh my goodness, she is ZaZa Ali 2.0. She just doing it foreign in foreign places. It's all she does the same thing. Like she schedules the thing for the trip. You pay everything. Then you're like, hey, then people start looking at the videos about her, and just like people ask for their money back. And all of a sudden, she has a problem with the bank. They can't put it back. They can't get her by email or phone. It's yeah. Mary Jane.
It's a mess.
Yeah.
It's a whole mess. So I mean, I had my own, and mind you, my experience, like I said, it's nothing. It didn't hurt me financially, thank goodness, and I'm fine. But it was just one of those moments that I learned a lesson. I have to admit, I learned a lesson about, being so quick to just, and for some reason, particularly with the conscious community, a lot of people walk into that community with their guard down because this is a group of people that allege to care so much for you and to care so much for melanated persons and blah, 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 blah. And so I think a lot of people walk into that community with their guard down.
But you know what? I feel also the same way about the Black church too, or Black church community, because some of these preachers, they're getting into, they're selling their book, they're selling whatever, handkerchiefs, oils, candles, DVDs. They're selling this, we're going on a retreat workshop. We're going on doing these things, and it's like they're just really out to get your money. Is it really about you caring about their soul or their relationship with the Lord? Is it just about getting money? Because I don't know if you looked into, I can't think of their name. I think you did a video on her too, and I did one too. Dana Chanel.
I actually did not do a video on her, but I watched your material and a lot of other material on her skin. Yeah.
And someone told her, they're like, oh yeah, she's this Christian religious lady, and she has this website. And then I started, doing research on her and doing videos on her. And I'm just like, y'all using the Lord to scam people? Like,
right. Think about it. One group is using the, God and the Lord to scam, and another group is using Black power rhetoric to scam.
Right.
And truthfully, they're both religions in their own right, because that whole Black power rhetoric is a religion in itself. And most of them teach that the Black woman is God and blah. It's its own religion.
Yeah, but they're the main one. Yeah, black woman. That's a whole other story. Black woman is God. Oh Lord. Um. Did anybody in the group win in those little sister cipher groups? Did they get them? Did any of them get the money when
You
their
know,
name
it's
was
interesting that
called?
it's very interesting that you ask that, because the first, okay, let me be fair. She may not have been the first person, she may have been the second person, but either the first or the second person to win, because I remember when it happened, I was like, was ZaZa Ali herself.
Mm.
So she took from the pot very early on in the mix, and I thought, how random could that be? But then there were some other women who seemed to be legitimate, um, which, of course, I eventually was no longer involved in that either. So who knows? Who knows?
Hmm. Did she know those other women very closely? Or was it just some other women you just met in the group?
I wouldn't know, because I had never met these women in person. It was all online.
All online?
So there's no way
Wow.
for me to know if she knew these women. I don't know.
Okay, Trip C says the first round was usually legit, but after that it can be a dummy account. Hmm. Interesting. Wow. Because I was thinking we just need to do like a they have those little websites that helps you randomize people. I mean, you just need to just do that. So I'm just like, how did she pick who's gonna get? I don't know. I'm just that lady. I'm sorry, that lady just really bothers me.
Yeah, I don't remember. She had some method by which she was choosing the people. It was random, but it wasn't random. There was some
Mhm,
sort of order she was doing it in that she had come up with, and I can't remember all the details. It was so long ago at this point.
mhm,
But whenever her name comes up, especially when it's just in general conversation, I like to share, because I
mhm.
like people to know not to go for it. You know?
Right, right.
Because I had seen people online saying they went to her retreat and had a great time. That
What?
is why I initially, yes, that is why I initially gave a deposit. It wasn't until the news segment that I became aware of these issues, because she had people on her channel saying that they, mind you, now that we think about it, do we know if these people are real? We don't know, right?
Mhm.
But she had people, on her channel saying that they went to the retreat and everything was great and fine and dandy. So
They were saying the same thing about Mary Jane Byarms. Like, oh, I went to the treat, I had a good time. But then other people started coming out and saying, no, this is what happened. I did not get what I paid for. And so when these new people who were signing up found out about all the issues, they wanted their money back. And then all of a sudden, like you, they can't get her via email or on the phone to get their money back.
precisely. And imagine a woman who is not young and single, right? Imagine a woman who is a mother, who has household responsibilities, and ZaZa Ali runs off with her money.
Mm-hmm.
I was blessed and fortunate to, like I said, to just walk away, but not everyone can do that. And I don't think that she would have treated me any differently had I had been in a different situation and really needed my money back.
Right. Did you ever think about letting her know that you were a lawyer?
I sure did. And she didn't care. That's right. That's right.
What?
She knew that I was an attorney. And she said, and I quote, do whatever you have to do.
The audacity.
Yeah.
Dang.
Because she knew that I was not going to waste my time. She knew.
Do you think
Because,
there's
like I said,
still
when I
things?
did, it's not worth my time.
Do you think this is why so many of those in the Black conscious community, even the Black pimp preachers, they are counting on people not either going forward, doing anything about it because it's either like how you say, it's worth more of your time than their money.
Yes, I think a lot of people do things because they know that most people. So even the whole Tasha K and Cardi B thing, right?
Mhm.
Because there's actually a connection here. I am
Yeah, I was actually going to
sure.
ask you about that next.
Yeah,
That's a
I'm
good
sure
segue.
that part of what Tasha K did was she said, Cardi B won't take the time. She might not like what I'm saying, but I'm sure Tasha K was betting that a person like Cardi B would never take the time to actually sue her. She was
Mhm.
betting on that. And she bet wrong.
And I think also because if we look at Cardi B, and I'm a fan, just letting you know, I'm a biased fan. Sometimes I do get upset with Cardi B. I'd be like, hey, can you please just ignore Candace Owens? Just don't talk to her. Just log off, sis. We Libras, just log off. That's not it. But she is very, I guess you say, receptive to social media. She cares about what is said about her on social media. She interacts with fans. She interacts with people. She's very much on Twitter and Instagram. And I think Tasha K was better on the fact that, oh, I'm just gonna get a reaction from her, and this is gonna lead to more views and more people come to my channel. But like you said, Cardi B got lawyers. She has a team, and this was also affecting her personally, and I also think professionally too. So, do you think maybe Tasha K is being used as an example?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that there are a lot of people behind Cardi B other than just Cardi B. I think
Mm-hmm.
there are probably secretly many celebrities who are either morally assisting her or,
Mm-hmm.
otherwise, because this is a stalwart case for them. If Cardi B can win against Tasha K, this sets precedent in the blogging world. This changes the blogging world. Bloggers are usually, it's the wild wild west, right? YouTube does nothing about it, and bloggers run with stories from some hole in the wall. If Cardi B can win this case, it will change everything.
What did you think about? I know a lot of people were talking about this yesterday. The judge had hoped to do closing arguments on Friday, but it didn't happen. And not Cardi B, Tasha K was being cross-examined, and I think it was the lead attorney was like giving Tasha K's uh attorney a couple of points or a few points. But I noticed that other I guess say bloggers or people, because he actually went to court and actually watched it. And there were other people there too. And so I was noticing that I don't know if we were following like I was. Was Tasha K disrespectful on the stand? Because they were saying something about, so she was calling Cardi B's lawyer by her name or something like that. I don't know if that makes any sense. Like I think her name is Sarah something, and
Her
Tasha
name
K
is
was
Olga. She was calling, Cardi B's attorney. Okay,
Cardi
no,
B's attorney is Sarah.
it's
Her name is
Sarah. Right,
Sarah
you're right.
something, and I guess Sarah, forgive me, I don't know her last name, was cross-examining Tasha K, and Tasha K was answering her back like she, I guess, is a regular person, not in a very respectful
So
way.
she was calling her Sarah while she was on the stand.
Yes.
Okay, that is definitely out of line.
Okay.
If I'm cross-examining someone on the stand and they say, "Yes, Felicia," excuse me? Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's
that's
what. And then
that's
they're saying
definitely
that
out of
she was,
line.
and they were also saying that she was doing a lot of lying on the stand. Like someone mentioned, I think they asked her about her husband. Um, and then she basically kind of like threw the husband underneath the bus, like, "Oh no, it's him. He's the one that's in charge. I'm not the one that's in charge." It was some weird thing. I wish I could actually be there and just watch this, but I don't. Um, but yeah, I was just wondering, like, and this is the question. I guess this is the question that I really should be asking, that a lead attorney talked about. Olga and Sadir, who are Tasha K's attorneys, are criminal lawyers. They're used to doing criminal cases. They have never did a civil case before. Should they have taken Tasha K's case?
So let me say, I did not know that the lead attorney mentioned that, but I mentioned that at length in my live. And I
Mm-hmm.
actually did a walkthrough of attorney Olga Ishmailova's career.
Mm-hmm.
And she describes herself as a lifelong criminal defense attorney. She
Oh
says
wow.
that criminal defense is the only area of law that she practices. That is in her own words. So honestly, in my humble opinion,
Mhm.
Tasha K's decision-making skills in that manner, I should say, are something that, should be up for discussion. A lot of people want to point the finger at Tasha K's attorneys, but they advertise their experience, especially Olga Ishmailova. She
Because I
advertises
actually,
that she's a criminal defense attorney,
yeah, because I Googled her and him,
right?
because also another vlogger always bragging that those are his lawyers. And I'm looking at their website and I said, wait a minute, this ain't criminal. What are they still doing? Civil cases. And then a couple of his cases, he's lost. You know, he has to go back to court. And now here I'm looking at Tasha K in court, and I'm thinking like, dude, girl, I don't think you picked the right ones. And everybody was reporting that the judge made, I guess, they brought in Sadir, I guess, because Olga was doing so bad, I guess.
Well, I don't know the details about that,
Yeah.
but the firm on a whole advertises as a criminal defense firm.
Mhm.
So if Tasha K chose them as her attorneys, I believe that she knew what she was doing. And from the outside looking in, it could be a financial decision.
See, that's what I wanted to know. Did she pick these attorneys because she couldn't get someone else, or no one else would take it,
I don't know about no one else would take it.
or
This
she
may
didn't have the money because to pay the attorney who did have the expertise?
Right. That may have been what happened. This may have been a financial decision. And I say that because a lot of large YouTubers, and I mentioned to you earlier that part of what my firm does is working with social media influencers, right?
Mhm.
So just like a lot of other people of color, and I say people of color only because this is really who I see doing this.
Mhm.
When a lot of larger YouTubers get to a certain point, they begin to extend their britches to a point where they could be overextended.
Mhm.
And so I think that she's gotten to a point where, I mean, she has employees, she has production, she has an assistant. I mean, yes, I'm sure she's bringing in a good money, but good money only goes so far.
Right.
And legal fees are no joke. So we know that Cardi B has spent almost $1 million litigating this case, right?
Right.
So we can imagine that Tasha K has spent perhaps half of that defending herself, right?
Mhm.
So this could have been a financial decision. And perhaps she spent less than half of that because she's chosen attorneys that this is not their usual wheelhouse. This definitely could be a financial decision.
Should they have taken her case? Should they have said, you know what, Tasha K, I think you need to go find someone else who does this
That's
thing?
another interesting question. So I'm going to say this. If Tasha K were to lose this case and then she were to sue these attorneys for malpractice,
Mhm.
she could make the argument that from an ethical standpoint, they should have declined the case.
Hmm.
Do I think she would win that argument? No. It's too obviously advertised what their experience is.
Mhm.
And so I think they can always say, we made the strategic legal decision to try a new area of law. We did not hide from the client that we were new in this area of law. So I think ultimately they would prevail, but it's something she could try, and you never know. I think if she were to lose this case, she could try.
Hmm. Let me find this. I'm trying to it's something that I want to ask you about. And a friend of mine sent it. It's a screenshot, and I think you showed it too. Everyone, I put in the chat if you can please like, share, subscribe to Empowered Esquire TV. She also discussed this in her video the other day, but it's also been making the rounds of YouTube. Let me see if I can find it as well, because I wanted to ask you about it. And just FYI, the Empire Esquire TV is giving us her legal opinion. Okay, This is not, you are not her. She is not here as my client. I mean, I'm not here as her client. Y'all are not here as her client. She is not giving you legal advice. She is giving you legal opinion. Did I say that correctly?
You did. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yes. This is all just my humble opinion.
Yes.
And the biggest thing for you all to remember about the law is that although it's written in black and white, it is gray. Okay.
Mhm.
So everything is up for interpretation in the law, and almost nothing is absolute.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I can't find the post. And this was supposed to be a screenshot of Tasha K giving I guess her review of Olga. It's my love. Am I saying it right? It's my love. And basically, it seems that I'm going to ask you about what is the website that the review was on? What is that website for? I think it's called Avuv.
I believe it's a website where people can rate their attorneys.
Oh, okay. And my thing is this: do you think that she actually wrote that opinion?
Oh,
Because some people are saying it's not her, and some people are saying it's her.
I
But it's
don't know.
I think Avo. Okay, thank you. Do you think it's actually her who wrote the opinion
I
about?
do not know.
Oh,
I'm absolutely unsure on that.
okay. Because some people are trying to say that, oh no, she didn't do that, but it's. Have you read it?
No, I have not. I've only heard of it, but I have not read it.
Okay. Hold on, I'm trying to find it. Let me see. Hey, Trip C, do you have a picture of it that you can send me real quick? I know it's something I was forgetting to get before the show. Thank you, Tristan. My friend sent it to me, but I can't find the screenshot because I'm looking at it like this doesn't make any sense. Let me see if I can. Okay, thank you, Tripsy. If you all haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe to Empowered Esquire TV. I have pinned the link in my comments. I've also put in the link to her last live about Cardi B versus Tasha K. Okay. Okay, let me see if that will. Oh, thank you so much, Tripsy. Appreciate that. Let me get this over here to myself. Sorry. Talks amongst yourselves. Okay, let me. And thank y'all for bearing with me. I have. Oh, okay. Oh, all right. Let me share. Tab. If you hear some snoring in the background, that's my dog.
Mac does not play about his rest. He is in his bed already.
My dog sleeps everywhere, on the floor, on the sofa, his little
Oh,
bed, my bed,
no,
everything.
that's not
Okay.
Mac. Mac has his little bed and his blanket, and he gets in his bed, and he's not very pleased with me being up and making noise right now.
Oh, sorry, Mac. Mac or Mac. Okay. Can you see the screen? Can y'all all see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, so this is allegedly, we'll say allegedly, Tasha K review of her attorney. And it's been making the waves on social media. Some people have said someone else made it, but it has her name there, Latasha Kibi. This was on the OVU website. It says, will not use this attorney again. Very disappointed with this attorney. I hired her to represent me in a defamation case, but I'll have to seek another attorney. Olga has, on several occasions, shown up to court unprepared and unfamiliar with the facts of the case. She advised me to file a countersuit, which I did, but it is clear now that that was not the best move. After advising me to countersuit, she then doubled back and dropped several counts in the countersuit. So why did she advise me to file it in the first place? At the last hearing, she was stuttering and tripping over her words, and it was embarrassing. An attorney is supposed to exude confidence in their client, but it's like she is not fighting to win the case. She's just going through the motions and showing up to court. After paying her thousands of dollars over the past 3 years, this case has been dragging on. I'm no better off. I'm counting my losses and moving on. I will not be using this attorney again. What do you think?
So again, there's no way for us to know if this is actually Tasha K, right?
Yeah, right.
However, if you hire a criminal defense attorney to
Mm-hmm.
defend you in a multi-million-dollar civil litigation, you can expect that you're getting someone who's going to be a bit nervous.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what else could she have expected? That's what I'm confused by. I don't know what she expected. Now, would I walk into a courtroom and stumble all over my words and be a hot mess? No. But again, I have to say this. Being an attorney, when you've been forged by real life trauma, you walk different, you talk different. And that is why I think, truthfully, attorneys who come from challenges like I do were different.
Mm-hmm.
But not everyone is like us, right? If you haven't been through real life challenges, being switched all of a sudden from criminal defense to multi-million-dollar civil litigation will make you a bumbling fool. It will. So I don't really know what Tasha K expected. And I don't understand for the life of me why she did not hire someone suited for multi-million-dollar civil litigation.
Did she think? Let me just say something. Mention something here to the countersuit. Do you think that the countersuit was a good idea?
Well, countersuits are commonplace, right? But they are used, quite frankly, as leverage. Countersuits are not really ever thought of as something that you actually plan on winning. It's more so used to show the plaintiff, hey, you have an argument, but I have an argument too. Okay. And maybe you should drop your argument. I'll drop mine and we can both walk away. But that only works if your countersuit is strong, right? Because if it's not strong, then it's not proper leverage.
What do you think is going to happen if they have closing arguments on Monday?
Well, I don't predict how cases will turn out. And I
Mm-hmm.
refrain from doing that because I really want to drive home the fact, and this is a fact, that litigation is unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to drive that point home. As an outsider, you can view something and you can think one thing, and the jury can come back with a totally different idea. Think Trayvon Martin,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Yeah.
George Zimmerman. So I never predict what could happen. Now, when they have their closing arguments, of course, both attorneys will give a summation of their side of the case. And you may also find that they may take that time to do post-trial arguments to the judge if there's anything they want to mention to the judge as far as anything that's occurred with evidence and things of that nature, right? They may even make a post-trial motion regarding something they want to put on the record for appeal. I believe it was mentioned that Tasha K's attorney, Ishmailova, she was trying to enter evidence that was inadmissible. You know, Cardi B's attorney may place on the record a more specific statement about that just in case the verdict doesn't go their way and they want to appeal, you know. So that's the procedure of what will happen. As far as what the verdict will be, I never predict that because these cases are totally unpredictable.
Now, one of the things I wanted to know is Cardi asking for an amount from Tasha K? Is she saying that, hey, this case has prevented? I know she's talked about how what Tasha K has done has, you know, forced her to being harassed on social media, has made her go to therapy. She doesn't want to have sex with her husband. But does she have a sound argument like, hey, her saying these lies about me online have also cost me money? Or is Cardi B not even worried about that part? She's just worried about the personal things that has affected her.
So I initially did a video breaking down this lawsuit when Cardi B first filed this suit like 6 or 7 months ago. And in that video, I break down her complaint. She does ask for an actual monetary amount, but that amount is flexible because she is also asking for attorney's fees. And then the jury also has the discretion to award certain types of damages for pain and suffering, for emotional distress and things of that nature, right? So the number that is in her complaint is probably nowhere near the number that she could actually obtain. And in defamation cases, kind of sort of similar to this, you know, there have been verdicts as little as 500,000. There have been verdicts as high as 3 to 4 million. So you never know.
I'm trying to find your video so I can post it in the chat. Oh, okay. Is it the one with the green letters on it?
I posted it in my community tab. If you go to my community tab, I think maybe a week or so ago, I had said, hey, you know, you all wanted to hear my thoughts on Cardi B. This is my first video that I did on the Cardi B and Tasha K case.
Okay. Are you wearing a dress?
Yes. That's with the green writing. Yes, that's it.
Yes. Okay. I'm going to put that in the chat so that everyone can see that. Get that one too. Okay. Yeah, because I keep wondering to know if she's going to be able to. But, you know, there's like, you're a lawyer. That's why I was like, I need to have a real lawyer on here because I keep having these wannabe lawyers in the chats. and they're saying, oh, it's going to be a mistrial. Oh, it's going to. Cardi B is not asking for amount. And she doesn't, you know, I'm just like.
No, that's not true. She noted an amount in her initial complaint. But that amount, as I said, is subject to much inflation. But she did note a monetary amount in her initial complaint. And, you know, the internet lawyers are very interesting. They argue with me all the time, by the way, all of the time.
Yeah,
and I'm so perplexed by it.
Yeah, I even saw people arguing with you about the Brother Polite situation.
Oh my goodness, they argue with me about
everything. And there was even a YouTuber. He's I think he stopped for now. He was like making videos about you somehow. Oh, look at this YouTube lawyer. She's over here making money on Brother Polite's name.
Making money. Oh my goodness. YouTube.
Yeah, he thought you were making money and getting views by saying so about
and making money off of YouTube. Let me tell you what people think. Let me see your transcript. They think you take a video, you put it on YouTube, and then Google sends you a $500,000 check.
That is not true, y'all.
Most people on YouTube are not making money. Most of us are not making money. YouTube does not pay. If I would, oh come on, that's
you have to be in like the 100K,
absolutely
not up range to really
no. My income comes from me practicing the law. I am an actual lawyer. That's what I do. And Brother Polite, Michael Nowak, whatever, whoever is not paying my bills.
Yeah, he just thought he literally said it, and I kept looking at the video like, who is he talking about? And then I saw it was a picture of you. He was talking about you. And I was like, no, he did not put her on the thumbnail and said that she was going to make a name for herself and get money from making a video about brother bringing the black man down, bringing the brother down. And I was just like, this man cannot
That's
be true.
comical.
And I lost so much respect for him for that. Cause he was the only like brother polite apologist out there for like a very long time. And finally he just said, oh, I'm just gonna wait until the case gets finished and then I'll give my opinion. And I was just thinking like, I wish you had did that all along. Cause this was just, yeah. And I was like, you were arguing with the person who's a lawyer and saying that you were wrong. And I was just like, you said you were laughing. And I was like, did he say that she's trying to get money?
I mean, but the best part is that if he truly was trying to support Michael Nowak, what he would have done, and again, this goes into brand management and why my firm loves brand management, has to be my favorite thing about what I do, because your image and the way that you speak and the battles you choose are so important. If he truly felt that Michael Nowak is innocent, all he needed to say was, I see that a case has been filed. I see what the accusations are. I want to say that I do not intend to disparage the victim or her mother, but I would simply like to express that this is not the man that I know. And so I will let this unfold before I make further comment. Done.
Yeah.
Done. You don't make all these videos disparaging and pretty much saying something that you don't know to be true. He doesn't know this man to be innocent because he wasn't there.
Yeah, and he kept saying things that didn't make any sense to me. And then I was like, when I saw his title, I was like, YouTube lawyer. And I was like, what is he talking about? And then I saw your picture, and I was like, wait a minute. She's a lawyer for real. Like, I know and I was just like, okay. And for a while there, I was not watching any of his videos. I was just like, dude, I just hope you get it together. So he stopped doing those videos for now. So we'll see what he says next month. I guess, are you getting ready for let's just say Black History Month? Because Polite is going back to court. Young Pharaoh's going back to court. So what do you think about?
Oh, sigh. Let's sigh on all of that. Just let's sigh. I just want to add, before you even get into that, let me add this. I do not watch any videos that people make about me. It just, I mean, it's not something I spend my time doing. And I have people send me the videos. Oh, such and such said this about you. And they give me timestamps at 2 minutes and 20. I don't care. I take the belief that people have the right to have an opinion about me, even if it means their opinion is that they don't like me. That's cool. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm starting to because like people are now making videos about me, and before they used to send me the timestamps. Oh, they're talking about you, and then after a while it was just like, look, if this is not something I have to take into court, I don't want to know. I've unfollowed those people. I don't watch them. If they're lying about the same thing they lied about me before, it's just gonna be that. But I will ask you another question, but it'll be an offline question. But yeah, it's just because I think also I realized something too, that other people make videos also on you. If you either have the same number of well, this is what I'm noticing on YouTube. Like whoever has a lot of followers, that someone with less followers will make a video about them to get views. And it's not always like in a good light. And so I kind of feel like you said, that's why I asked you the question, do you think that this is going to be something's going to have repercussions with this case with Cardi B and Tasha K? Because she's up there saying things about a very famous person, and will this have some repercussions for YouTubers like her and those who don't have as many subscribers as her, you know, because with I guess I need to ask you this question. I know you got to go, but maybe we need to do a part 2 on defamation and exactly what to do if that either you're, I guess, receiving it, being defamed, or um someone is saying that you defamed them online. So, but I know you have to go, and I don't want to keep you here.
Thing freezing on me. Oh
Oh,
no.
did you
Oh
hear
my.
me at all?
Yes, I heard you, but it froze. I don't know if you heard me saying that it was freezing. I was trying to unmute myself and it wouldn't let me.
No,
I
I
do.
didn't hear you say it's freezing.
Okay, I do have to run. But I will say this as to defamation. If someone is defaming you, you can do exactly what Cardi B did, which is you politely, ask them to cease and desist. If they do not listen to your request, I would say you should ask about 2 or 3 times, right? Just to be sure. And if they do not listen to your request, then you can take legal action.
Mm-hmm.
Those are really your only. Now, mind you, with YouTube, you can, of course, go to the YouTube admin and tell them this person is, and hope that YouTube will do something about it. But as we know, that's not very likely.
Yeah,
It's
they respond to more copyright issues
right, and
than
it's a
they do
strange
to,
space. It's a
yeah.
strange space where they will limit monetization on legal lessons, but will let Tasha K say all sorts of craziness in her videos, and I'm
Mhm.
sure she's monetized. So hey,
Yeah.
you know, it's a strange space.
Right. Trip C wanted me to ask you. I don't know. She says, ask her, did she see that screenshot on my show yesterday? Did you, Empowered Esquire TV?
Screenshot of what?
Yeah, Trip C, what exactly was the screenshot of? Please like, share, and subscribe to Empowered Esquire TV. I've pinned a link to her channel in the comments. Also, there is her website or 2 websites that I've also put in the comments as well. It is Above the Bar LLC, PLLC, which is her firm, and also her Dedicated Educators website. So definitely go to her channel, like, share, and subscribe. Support Black business, Black girl excellence, Black girls rock.
Thank you very much for that. Let me see your transcript.
All right, you're very welcome. Are you going live tomorrow, or when is the next time you're going live?
Whew, well, as I was telling you earlier, I have to balance this YouTube stuff with
Mm-hmm.
my life and all my other stuffs. So, what I do want to get better at, though, in 2022 is maybe planning it out more, because as of right now, I have no idea when I'm going live again. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It might be Monday. I want to start merging in some different types of content.
Right.
I was telling everyone it's in my membership section now, but I randomly went live the other day and I was just venting and I was telling everyone that I'm kind of bored,
Mm-hmm.
so we may need to branch out. And I'm telling you, honestly, I'm not really interested in covering another Brother Polite court appearance,
Yeah.
another Young Pharaoh. I'm so over them. so,
Thank
so
you so much, She Nurses TV, for subscribing to Empire Esquire TV. Thank you so
thank
much.
you. Thank you very much. So, yeah, I am looking to innovate and change and find new ways for my audience and myself to grow, So that's what this year is about. I'm going to start planning out my lives a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But what I first want to figure out is what new lanes we're going to start merging into.
Oh, okay. What about, this is a suggestion? I know that there are other court cases, um, that may be coming up, or I don't know if you mentioned before. I don't think I've seen this one. What's the lady? She owned the company and said her company could detect something about blood or whatever, but then like she lied.
Oh yes, I forgot her name, but I think her company was Theranos.
Yeah, Theranos. And then like there's the Ghislaine Maxwell case. I think she's been found guilty, but they're gonna sentence her. I think both of them are in the sentencing phase. And then like the 3 cops who saw George Floyd get killed by the other officer, their case is coming up. So I don't know.
Oh, the George Floyd case sounds interesting. Ghislaine Maxwell, they kept that plate. They kept that case so buttoned up. You know, it was buttoned up so tight that it really isn't very interesting to cover because not much is known about what happened during the trial. So that's why I didn't even bother trying to cover Ghislaine Maxwell. There was barely any information coming out of the courthouse on that.
And then what's his name? Prince Andrew. The judge says that his lawsuit case can go forward because he was trying to get
now that is interesting. I may cover that with Prince Andrew because that is actually quite interesting. Because
his mother just
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say his mother just snatched his crown. She said, you are no longer his Royal Highness. Go sit down. Go lay down."
Well, I don't blame her. I mean, but
yeah, you doing this as a private citizen.
Right. I mean, I don't blame her, but she had no choice. You know, she had no choice at this point. But anywho, I am gonna go ahead and head on to bed because at this point I'm gonna start, speaking gobbledygook.
Oh, I know. No problem. I'm about to go lay down myself. Well, thank you so much for.
Of course.
Yeah, he did get dismissed from his position. He can still be Prince Andrew, but he cannot be like the Duke of York and all the other official princely stuff that he was doing, So, yeah. But Elizabeth Holmes is her name. Theranos. I think she was on a CNBC episode. So, but thank you so much. You have a very good night. Y'all, please like, share, subscribe to Empowered Esquire TV. And definitely watch her 2 videos. One from 6 months ago. I'll put it in the chat. About Cardi B versus Tasha K. Hear from a real authentic lawyer. Okay. Not these want to be in the chat YouTube lawyers. Okay. All right. Y'all have a very good night. Because yes, this is ladies' night. Yes, it's ladies' night. Oh, what a night. Oh, what a night. Right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.